evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, welcome. And thank you so very much for being with us here. It's an exciting time, isn't it? But before we do the draw, we're going to talk about why it's so important to dream and hope and wish, and what helps us if we really want something, and what enables or empowers us when we get what it is that we want. Okay, so there are a couple of rules from the fields of positive psychology, change management, and neuroscience. Some of those rules have been captivated by those in the law of attraction world. They've been linked to quantum mechanics or physics. And there are a couple of universal laws, I think, that are more philosophical and spiritual that are powerful for us. Let's dive into them. The more grateful you are, and I mean from a profound and deep, meaningful, full-bodied gratitude, the more grateful you are for the last time you traveled, the more in alignment you are with the potential, the possibility, the promise of future travel. And then the circumstances, situation, and the people in your reticular activating system actually then notices opportunities that will lead to travel. And so first and foremost, I want you to think about a moment when you were traveling. And then I want you to know that the more grateful you are, if you've uploaded photographs of those experiences into your Positive Prime session and you are in the space where you're remembering whilst you're viewing a session, you can actually attach that energy to photographs that you might upload of a place that you're going to travel to. And maybe that's a destination that you know about. And so I'm going to just really quickly screen share for you and explain this as I do it. And so first and foremost, it's about this profound appreciation that you feel in your body. And you think about, what is it that you savor? Who are you with? What about the experience made you feel like it was wondrous and beautiful and delicious and gorgeous, and you'd like that experience to be repeated in some way, shape, or form, or refreshed in your life? That remembering attached to appreciation is absolutely incredibly important. Number two is attaching that to the future. And number three is being genuinely and sincerely delighted for others who are traveling. And the more you can be honest and truthful and faithful to the feelings of you being happy for somebody else being blessed, the more you will bring yourself into alignment with being blessed yourself. And it's a very important part of achieving any goal that you have, is seeing others with that which you want and being wholeheartedly, from a galactic point of view, thrilled for them. And thinking about why it's just amazing and magnificent for them. And the more you can ground yourself in that, the better. So there are three top tips for you to start with. And I could, of course, go on for another hour or so about how do you ensure that the images that you put on your vision board are supercharged by the images that you would have in your gratitude journal if you actually had photographs of everything that you wrote down in your gratitude journal. And why, if you have those images integrated into each and every single Positive Prime session you watch, why that is literally you in command of magic. Alrighty, so I'm just going to quickly show you a few things about Positive Prime whilst I have the opportunity and whilst I've got you here. So I'm on the web-based platform, and today's session is Absolute Abundance. Now, let's just say I know that I'm going to be going to, where's that? That's the Fairmont Hotel in Boston. And that's where our event for the Global Positive Prime Summit is happening in November. Yes, that's their grand ballroom. Magnificent, isn't it? And if I see photographs of that in my Positive Prime session, I can mentally rehearse. And there's a whole science around that. It works for Olympians. It works for the Taylor Swifts, the musicians who want to be famous. It works for you and me as well, right? So imagine yourself there. Imagine yourself there. What does it feel like? What does it sound like? Who are you laughing with? Who are you participating in an activity with? What are those activities? Alrighty, so the interesting thing, of course, is that this is actually, there's some photos that have been provided to us by the Fairmont Hotel for us to use in our marketing. But let me show you another image, shall I? This is actually the Oval Room. And this is where the meals are happening, particularly the gala. What a gorgeous room. And what's fascinating is when I opened up Positive Prime this morning, Absolute Abundance was the first one. Oh, it just refreshed. Okay, so in case some of you don't know, Positive Prime's feed refreshes regularly. And what I do is I literally just pop into the very first one that appears. Now, this healing anger and from stress to serenity is actually a very important session in the library, of which there are over 300 sessions in the library. And those sessions are created by best-selling authors, world-class therapists and healers, doctors of psychology, women like Elizabeth Bradley, who are professors in subjects like grief. And of course, all of our speakers at the Global Positive Prime Summit in Boston will have sessions as well. So we'll be able to literally absorb the key messages, the essence of what it is that they're teaching, their insights and their wisdom, and we will be able to integrate it into our identity so that we're on autopilot towards transformation. Now, as you can see at the moment, out of my 10,603 photos that I have actually uploaded, there are none in this session yet. But I've actually done something. I've literally gone through my images and I have tagged them. So let's just say I want to pick up one and I want to change the folder that it's in and I want to put it into absolute favorites and highlights. What that's going to mean is that if I click on here, you can see it's now here. I chose these three little ones. So now I'm going to, these are the photographs that make me feel blessed and fortunate and lucky and extremely grateful. These are like the absolute favorite highlights of my life. So I'm going to select all of those. And can you see now there's 38 images here? But I've actually also done something else. I've got a me folder and you can create your own folders. And these are all photographs of me. And the reason why I need photographs of me in every single session is because I want the wisdom to apply to me. I want my identity to wrap around the wisdom, okay? So I'm going to select all these photos and you can see now there are 95 photos. Now I'm going to press play. I actually have this set to 10 minutes at the moment, and I don't want to skip the intro until I actually just show you. I've got mine on speed 0.75, and that's because that's what works best for me in my current mood. I might watch this session again on fast. Now I can skip the intro if I like, but in the introduction, what I actually do is I breathe deeply in through my nose for 4, I hold for 4, and then out for 4. So let's all try and do that, shall we? Let's recalibrate and let's allow our nervous systems to just feel like they're revitalized and rejuvenated and refreshed. Nice big deep breaths in through your nose as slowly as possible. Hold for as long as possible and breathe out through your mouth as slowly as possible and as completely and fully. Exhale, empty, let go. Okay, so you didn't all come here so that you could actually watch a positive prime session. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? Yeah, I'm sure it is. All right, so let's pause. And I'm just going to go back and tell you a couple of things about positive prime sessions. For me, they feel very much like an opportunity, a self-love ritual, a moment, a pause, an ability for me to drop more into harmony and balance out my parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. There's an enormous amount of scientific substantiation, evidence, justification for why a positive prime session, all 1,000 images that we've very carefully chosen, why they adhere to a particular formula that we know puts your brain into a state of flow and connected to one mind, the divine, the universe, God, and that beautiful part of you, your soul, is in that connection when you're in that vibration, that frequency, that flow state. And we've been able to measure it by putting EEGs on to your brain in the lab situation. Okay, so in the positively primed state, as you're connected, like truly connected to your own magnificence, as well as all that there has ever been, ever will be, all. And you might call that God. As you're connected, you are literally in the energy that will accelerate you on your journey to experiencing what is most meaningful, significant, and fulfilling in life. And that's deep connections with others where you are the medicine. And I've been working on a new book, essentially a guide to positive prime, but explaining to you why there are photographs of smiles. And when you smile, even when you're smiling to yourself, something miraculous and marvelous happens to your biochemistry. And I want you to understand and appreciate and respect that. So as you're watching a positive prime session, smile to yourself and know, and I'm going to explain to you in this new book, know what's happening when the retina of your eyes processes that image as information, data, and sends it essentially to the various parts of your brain that then make your body feel like you are smiling, and you have the benefits and advantages of that from a chemistry, biochemistry point of view, but also from a healing perspective. And I really want you to understand that. I really want you to appreciate that. And I really want you to respect that every single positive prime session that you view, especially when it's personalized by you with your images, it is a gift to yourself, first and foremost. And then who you're being then in your energy or your vibration or your frequency, who you're showing up as, that's a gift to others. And so I'm excited for you to have this book. Be on the lookout. That's coming. All right. Now, of course, it's going to be something that you're going to want to share with everybody else as an ebook. But Mimi and I, we're deep diving into that particular new resource for all of you. All right. So are you ready for the draw? Are you ready for the draw? Or should I wait just a little bit longer and explain to you some of the other things that are happening in the positive prime world? Okay, let's dive into the draw. All righty. So we're using a very special piece of technology that's underpinned by, and you can actually go and have a look at this. Just go to Google or ChatGPT or your favorite AI tool and learn more about random number generators. But anyway, here we have the Wheel of Names. And so these are all the people who have actually, they're in the draw. Now, the minute I press in the middle, it's going to reveal who is the winner of $2,500 US. It's a travel voucher. You get to spend that with my friend Matthew through the flight center. There's no benefit to me. It's not like I'm earning anything from this. It's me basically asking my friend Matt to help me with the members who are so important and precious to us. And we really want you to use it towards a dream holiday. Of course, there are rules and regulations. It's about 4,000 Australian dollars with the exchange rate at the moment. And do you know, here in Australia, the maximum gift voucher that we can give to you from the Flight Centre is 4,000 Aussie dollars. So we essentially decided that the prize was $2,500 US. You ready for me to press? I want to see some like, yes, or some, okay, great, thank you. And before I press, let me tell you, this is not going to be your last opportunity. It's not going to be your last opportunity. I want you to hear what I've got to say. Should I just really quickly go and show you what we're doing here? No, we're doing it again. And everybody gets to enter, including you, even though you may have already paid for your very, very special offer where you're actually also receiving a live stream pass to the summit in Boston, right? But if you share Positive Prime as an affiliate, you will go into the draw again. In fact, if you actually encourage your friends and your families to take advantage of the very special offer, for every single person that you refer, that you are linked to, you will also receive an entry. So we will have some Positive Prime professional practitioners, those people who've been through their certification, or those people who are coming to Boston, and that's part of the certification process. You could actually have several entries for the next draw. Alrighty, so shall I go back here? Yes, it's $2,500 US, and it will be drawn live again. Alrighty, we're back to it. I knew you wanted to see that. All right, so hold your best intentions for what is in the best interests of the higher self of whomever wins, and let's be absolutely thrilled and delighted for them. 1, 2, should I go on 10? Should I count down from 10, or should I just do it in 3? 1, 2, 3. Oh, spinning, slowing down, slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. Okay. Who is Tinny S, and where is Tinny S? Well, guess what? I'll actually tell you what their full name is, but for privacy reasons, I didn't actually want everybody's name there. Who is Tinny S? You ready? And where does Tinny S live? I don't know, but I want you to know that she's a coach. Her surname is Sandham. Is she here? You can unmute yourself. Is she here? Do you know she actually, or maybe it's a he, is in our community care of Dana Wild. And Dana Wild is a dear friend of ours, and she has introduced lots and lots of her precious people in her community to Positive Prime. She loves Positive Prime. What great news for both Dana and one of her special people. Oh, yeah, Kendra, we love Dana, don't we? We absolutely love and adore Dana. Alrighty, so for those of you who want to leave, you're more than welcome to. We did the draw. Now we'll be organising for her to actually use her $2,500, but we'll also be organising a special coaching with me so I can really help her to upload appropriate photos into her Positive Prime sessions that will allow her, when she's actually traveling, care of that $2,500, so that she actually has all of the physiological health benefits from savoring the experience as she's experiencing it in the moment. Being essentially, Kendra, you're super sweet. Being in the moment as it's occurring and observing yourself experiencing it and savoring it and thinking about what you're grateful for moment by moment is actually the way to travel. That's the way to travel. It's to notice every single moment. All good? All good. Alrighty, so I'm going to stay here. One, because I'm loving this moment. And 2, because I want to avail myself of the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better if you want to ask a question, and if there's some advice or some recommendations, or if there's some questions that you have either about the Global Positive Prime Summit in Boston in November, or if you've got some questions about how is it that you could be one of the people who has a Positive Prime session in the feed. And then I want you to be on the lookout, because we're actually going to gift the ebook that I was referring to. That's all about the science, the spirituality, the philosophy of Positive Prime. We're going to gift it to those of you who actually register for our next class. And during our next class, we're going to be revealing a new feature, a new function that's going to be available inside the feed that we're very, very, very excited about. We're very proud of, and it should be very soon. All right. So who wants me to answer some questions? Who wants to share something that's happened because they're watching Positive Prime? Anybody? Unmute yourself. Come on out. Introduce yourself. Tell me what's happening because you're watching Positive Prime. Ask a question. If you're confused, let's get that cleared up. All right, Lee. Perfect. Let's hear from you.
Hiya, Kim. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, what I've noticed. Oh, wait. Why am I not seeing you anymore? Where'd you go?
Oh, you found us again?
Yeah, I'm on my phone. Hi, everybody. What I've noticed since you and Brett actually announced what you were doing in the fall in Boston, I have noticed that I am so much more open to everything that's happened in my life so far, with an attitude of gratitude, a sense of like there's just this spaciousness, Kim. That's what I would say is the most noticeable thing for me, is a spaciousness and a capacity to hold that spaciousness and stillness while I am operating in a more grateful, positive way of being. Now, my husband would probably say that's not entirely true, but you know, sorry, I just dropped the phone. Anyway, that's all I have to offer.
Oh, you are a gift. Do you know what? Your laughter has actually just literally infused all of us with that joy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
My pleasure.
Lee, do you know spaciousness? And it's interesting because I used to say this, I'll watch a Positive Prime session on slow, and then I'll watch a Positive Prime session on a higher speed, right? Now, when you watch a Positive Prime session on faster speed, so the transitions of the 1000 or it depends on if you're watching it for only 3 minutes or only 5 minutes, of course, you won't get all 1000 frames, right? You'll get a portion of that. And depends on how many you've uploaded into your personal connection, and your internet connection actually is also going to impact that. I've gone, there we go. So in the quantum, in the gap is actually where true magic and miracles happen. And I'm pretty sure that you're aware of this if you're part of this community. Normally, the seeds that we want planted are not planted in fertile ground. In other words, not planted in the energy of all there ever was, is, and will be. That source energy, that divine. And what Positive Prime does at speed, because your brain is then in this flow state, you're in the Positive Prime state, you're actually being influenced in a very, very powerful way, so that the seeds that you plant are then going into fertile ground, in the gap. Now, Deepak Chopra used to talk a lot about being in the gap. Most people need to go on a pilgrimage to a monastery and sit in silence for months before they can master being in the gap. But our technology actually allows you to get into the gap reliably and dependably, rapidly. And so it's just a little word of warning for everybody who watches the Positive Prime session every morning. Breathe deeply as you're preparing to watch your Positive Prime session. And as you're viewing, think about what is the greatest, the best, the highest, the most wonderful that you could actually have happen in your life in a magnificent, miraculous, magical kind of way. Because you are planting seeds in the gap so efficiently and so effectively. And the reason why that is happening is actually because they're more than just pretty pictures. There is a certain number of a variety of images that we know is what's going to get you into the gap. And when you see words that are written very particularly, specifically. So I'm going to tell you, the next time you watch a Positive Prime session, try to do this. Notice the I ams, the you ares, the global statements, and the gratitude statements. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I am loving, loved, and lovable. I am loving, loved, and lovable. Now, what happens is my mind goes in search of evidence to prove that to myself, because I'm human and I have a reptilian brain, which means I was formed with the survival instinct, and I have to prove to myself that I am right and accurate. Now, back when I was looking across the plains and an animal was advancing to me, or another tribe, and I needed to know whether I was safe or not, I needed to assess and evaluate and make decisions about whether I should fall down, faint, and pretend I was dead in case I was going to get killed, or whether I was going to run away, flee, whether I was going to fight. So you know the survival mode piece, or whether they were friends and I needed to develop a connection. I needed to smile in advance, right?
Yeah.
Now, first and foremost, we actually assess everything about whether it's friendly to us. So in a Positive Prime session, we're searching for faces that are friendly. In fact, our natural instinct, our absolute primal way of being is to connect first. It's not to fight or flight. We've been taught that we all have this survival instinct that's now overstimulated and our amygdala is in charge. But the truth is our eyes are in charge. And we are assessing for friendliness first. And so guess what? I am loving, loved, and lovable. My mind's going searching for evidence to prove to myself that I'm right or accurate, because back when we were evolving, I had to be accurate. I had to be right. I had to be in control. It was part of my survival. And so I was looking for friends, and that gives you the greatest clue. And I'm going to tell you, the rest of my Positive Prime days forever are going to be about me helping you to understand that faith is more important to your well-being than food. Now, I'm not saying nutritional nurturing isn't important and that a balanced diet isn't important, but it's not as important, and the science says so, compared to your faithfulness and your trusting nature and your ability to connect with something that's bigger, more grand than you. And Dr. Harold Koenig from Duke University, who you're going to want to go and do some research on, he's coming and sharing that he's a doctor, first and foremost. He's in a school of medicine and he's a psychiatrist. And he's going to come and share with us everything that he has spent decades studying and teaching in really incredibly well-respected scientific approaches, why religion and faithfulness, and it doesn't matter whether we're talking about Judaism or Islam or Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism or Sufism or actually a devotion to the trees and to the wild, right? Faith is more important than your food for your well-being. Second, and second only to that, is your deep and meaningful connections, the pure love, the pure unlimited love you have for yourself, each other, and of course the animals and plants in the world, right? And so I am loving, loved, and lovable is one of the 4 types of statements you'll see in every single session. The second type you'll see is you are. You are loved, loving, and lovable. You are loved, loving, and lovable. Now, when you see a statement with my face, you might think I'm subliminally trying to persuade you, influence you beyond your will. But the reality is that if you like me and you trust me and you feel like you know me, and there is a little bit of a power differential, and you actually grew up as a child, which by the way, all of us who are human did, guess what? We believe what others say about us more than we believe what we say about ourselves. That's the way we're wired. So when we were a little child and someone looked at you and you were all cute and gorgeous and fabulous and you had a fantastic future in front of you, and someone said, gosh, you are great at mathematics, or gosh, you are pretty, or gosh, you are well behaved, you adopted that. You absorbed it and you spent the rest of your life acknowledging that you are statement to yourself, finding evidence to prove to yourself, because you also need to be right about what you think about others think about you. And so in a positive prime session, there are lots of you are statements. I want you to be on the lookout for them. Guess what else there are? 3. Third, I am loving, loved, and lovable. You are, Kim, loving, loved, and lovable. Now, I'll tell you how I started to rewire myself is I started to imagine God or my angels or the stars. I literally practiced inside of me the stars twinkling saying, Kim, you are loving, loved, and lovable. And guess what I dropped into the flow? And guess what I started to attract into my life? Love that I could trust. Faithful love. Pure, unlimited love. Love everywhere. And of course, one of the greatest love stories of my life is with my beautiful Cameron, my husband. But I started to notice love everywhere. My parents love me. My brother loves me. I have only one brother, Mark. I have positive prime members who've become friends and they're like family and they love me. They see me for who I really am. And I don't need to pretend I'm somebody I'm not. Brett loves me. Thank you for saying that. I love you too, Brett. I do, right? Lisa and I know we're like super special soul sisters. We've loved each other for eons, for lots of past lifetimes. And I could go on and on and on. I got to meet Katie Culver in Los Angeles nearly, 2.5 years ago. And I got to give her a hug, right? And there was genuine, pure, sincere love. All right, so I am, you are. So if you've got no one in your life telling you you are loving, loved, and lovable, I want you to imagine that God says that. Or maybe it's one of your parents who has passed. Or if that doesn't work for you, and it doesn't have to work for you, and it might not be the truth for you, maybe you're thinking about a really dear friend, a colleague who became a really, really close friend, a real friend. Maybe you're thinking about how they love you, even from the other side or from the beyond. Okay, so then there's universal, global statements. Things that are irrefutable, things that are pure, like love is pure. Love is pure. That can't be debated. Love is pure, right? Can't argue with that. Love is pure. Love is eternal. Love is eternal. They're 2 really good examples of some universal, global statements. And the 4th type of statement that you're going to see that's really important and is absolutely within every single session is the thank you statements, the gratitude, the appreciation. And so, Lee, I'm not surprised. And it's a beautiful observation of yourself that spaciousness and expansiveness and surrendering and letting go and allowing actually just happens to be oozing in and through and around and out of you, right? Because you've seen statements like, thank you for the love that I'm noticing. Thank you for the love that I'm feeling. I appreciate being loved. I appreciate the gestures of love. I appreciate being able to show my love. I am grateful for love. Thank you. So you will see lots of statements in every single session that are I ams, you ares, thank yous, and the global absolutes. Love is pure. Love is kind. Love is patient. Right? Okay, so do you want me to go on with any more? Is any of this useful? Is it a nice refresher? Lee, you're being generous. Thank you. All right. So anybody else want to say anything at the moment? Right? So in each and every single Positive Prime session, you are in the gap whilst you're viewing it. Remember it. Make sure you plant seeds in that fertile ground. Think about, who do you want to meet? Who do you want to be? Okay, so Brett D. Scott, come on out.
G'day, everyone. I have been around Kim and Positive Prime for 5 years. And sometimes I hear Kim and I've heard some of the things she shared, and then I hear something again. There's something, and this is something I learned when I first started the personal development journey, is that repetition is the key. And not just the repetition, it's that we're constantly, if you are growing, if you're open to growing, you're constantly elevating your consciousness, and therefore you will, thank you. It's a bird. Thanks, Kendra. And, so every time I hear Kim share more about Positive Prime, you'd think I'd heard everything there could possibly be to be with Positive Prime. But I tell you what, there's not. There's still more. And, and there's so much more that is happening as we're growing. And I'm so grateful to be part of the journey. And I wanted to say, just in regards to the question, Kim, using the new app, such a godsend. I tell you what. And I'll tell you this might sound a bit simple, but I'll tell you the thing that really excites me the most. I know, Kim, you were showing how to, choose different categories. Kim, you know me well enough that I like to just pop everything in. And so in the old platform, when you would have to, say if I want to do someone else's session, especially when you had new people that would put a session become certified and put a session into the platform, I'd want to watch it. And therefore, if I want to watch it, I want to include all of my photos. And I don't have 10,000, as you know, I have 800. And all 800, I want to be in each session. So I would have to go page by page by page. And I think it was like 10 pages. So take me a bit of time, select all, next page, select all, next page. This new app, Kendra, if you don't have the app, we'll have to have a word to you so you can get the app, because it's so good. And I tell you what, it's very exciting to me, because I can just select all images and I don't have to wait. I can just get straight into it, because we're all busy, right? Kendra, see the little infinity sign? That's the next to Tony Robbins' money.
That'd be two P's. That'd be two P's linked together. Positive Prime.
Next to Tony Robbins' money app. How appropriate, right? And so, yeah, and so it's just like the simplicity of being able to use the app is just incredible. And we just, like, I'm seeing, by the way, I can't give away any secrets, but I am seeing some of the things happening behind the scenes. And let me just say, you're all going to have your minds blown as we keep progressing. So as Kim said, like, keep coming to, if we have different sessions on and Kim sharing, I promise you there will be new things every time. So don't think, oh, we're going to hear Kim share the same thing over and over. Well, sometimes there's the same thing that might be shared, but it's always shared in a different way. And I can tell you, this is the last thing I'll say, I can tell you from having deeper conversations with people who want to be bigger parts of what we're doing, pioneers and people who want to be certified. Kim and I sometimes have conversations that go for 2, maybe 3 hours. And I hear Kim sharing some of the same information again. But then I go, Kim, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Like there are things that come out because, like all of us, I'm sure we've all been on a journey if we've been here more than a couple of decades. And therefore, we're going to have a lot of information to share, but it's always exciting to me is what I'm going to finish with. So great to meet some of you for the first time, and some of you have known me for a little while. So I look forward to seeing you in Boston. That's it for me.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you so much. I actually didn't mean to take your spotlight, but anyway, I'm going to spotlight myself again. And whilst I've got everybody for the last couple of minutes, in case you're curious, who's curious amongst us? All righty. In the search, I want you to all put in Kathleen. And you're going to find Reverend Kathleen Panning. Oh, you can tell I personalized, can't you? Now, if I selected all, quite frankly, I wouldn't see the 200 phrases that are Kathleen's wisdom. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit more whilst we watch this. And then there's some other advice I can give to you. I'm going to skip this. And I'm actually going to not have the music because that means I have to speak louder. So Kathleen's session is her wisdom. They're her insights. And she is a gorgeous human being. And we match and marry, we mix and we align images that bring to life the essence of her. That's her messages. Now, the reason why I want to see Kathleen, Reverend Kathleen Panning, do you want me to go down here and actually make it go a bit slower for you so that this makes sense? Let's go down here to, I don't know, half. Is because Kathleen has different perspectives than I do. She's had a different life than I've had. And you know how they say that if you think and do the same things, you're going to get the same results. So I need Kathleen in my life. And I have enough faith in Positive Prime and the process that we go through getting to know the session's authors. I know she is genuinely and sincerely worth being an expert and an authority in our feed, in our library. Kathleen she's true to her message. She walks her talk. She is an exceptional role model. And so when I'm watching Kathleen's energy is being transferred to me as the viewer. And could you imagine if I wanted to spend a coaching session with every single one of the Positive Prime contributors, the incredible professional practitioners who have sessions? Now, I'm going to tell you that just one session with Kathleen, and that's what a Positive Prime session is. It's the essence of her being transferred to me, whilst my brain is in the state of flow. It's being positively primed. So I am absorbing her energy, her wisdom, her insights, her suggestions, and her recommendations in a way that would be impossible if I was actually just sitting in front of her as well, being coached or being guided or being inspired or being informed or being taught. That's the truth of Positive Prime, right? Now, that's not to say I don't want to spend an hour with Kathleen, and Kathleen's already booked herself in for Boston. So I know I'm going to be spending time with Kathleen, right? I'm not saying don't spend 1 hour with Kathleen. I'm saying that after that 1 hour with a coach or with a therapist or with a healer, you're going to want their Positive Prime session to reinforce them and their healing in your life, right? That's the power and the potency, and that's the perfection of a Positive Prime platform that has lots of Positive Prime sessions by lots of different coaches and healers and therapists. Alrighty, so I'm just going to get out of here and I'm going to say to you, I absolutely love Kathleen's, right? But I'll tell you who else I love. Oh, who else do I love? Brett D. Scott. Mr. Brett D. Scott. I've started using the word supercharge. I never used that word before him, right? It just pops out of my mouth and I go, oh, I'm being conditioned by Brett D. Scott. It is time. Yes, Kimbo, come on, step up. Take the action. It is time, right? So I'm telling you, I could coach with Brett. Or guess what? I could actually understand and appreciate that Brett is coaching me when I watch his session. It's up to me to watch his session every day or once a week or once a month. You are more powerful than you think. Thanks, Brett. You know, every single time my eyes see the victory, you know, the arms up in the air, do you know my body produces more testosterone and reduces the production of cortisol? Did you know that? That's scientifically proven by a professor at Harvard named Amy Cuddy. And they're actually called the power poses. You can go and watch her TED talk from a long time ago. She's actually doing amazing new research now. But every single time your eyes literally see the victory symbol, guess what happens? You don't even need to be doing it. Guess what happens? The neurons in your brain that are acting like mirrors see that, think that you're doing that, and then start to actually produce more confidence hormones and reduce stress hormones without you actually having to put your arms up. How extraordinarily, amazingly fabulous is that, right? All right, so that's a great photo of a great dad being great fun. I've never been to Japan. Do you think that whilst I'm in the positively primed state, I'm planting a seed in fertile ground and I might just get to go to Japan with the circumstance, the situation, the people rearranging themselves in the universe so that that becomes my reality? Yes, highly likely, yes. More probable, yes. Right? Am I likely to pick up a basketball and play? Is Brett just going to get this like weird idea on the weekend to go pick up a basketball and play basketball with his son? Maybe, because that's how it works. That's how it works. And so what I'm going to say to you is use Positive Prime and the authors as your coaches. Oh, there's me. So guess what? My identity starts to wrap around Brett's content. Brett says, you are amazing. Kimbo just saw herself and saw you are amazing. Guess what her brain does? Collapses, connects. Him starts to think you are amazing. Because what if I didn't grow up with anybody saying to me, Kim, you are amazing? I can guarantee to you, people did not say to me, Kim, you are amazing as I was growing up. They said all sorts of other things, and you are amazing was not one of them. All right. What about Lisa? Oh, how many Lisas do we have? Lisa Barnett. Align to your soul's plan. Now, let's just say I know that part of my soul is all about what I'm grateful for. I now get to watch Lisa's session. But let's just say I have some resistance to this. And you know that whatever we resist persists. So this might be stubborn. I might not believe I am the light, or that I'm going to want to watch this quickly. And that's essentially the very quick summary of how Positive Prime works, why it works. That's the top level stuff. If you want to actually know why there are Duchenne smiles and what is a Duchenne smile and how your physiology interacts with a Duchenne smile, then maybe you want to consider signing up to the certification. If you have a message to share with the world and you think that other people will benefit from that message, maybe you want a Positive Prime session, you want to step into the shoes of somebody who's going to inspire and empower and enable and facilitate Positive Prime members all over the world. But of course, if you're here, or maybe you're actually just watching this recording, I really want you to go out there and I want you to share, right? I want you to share Positive Prime. And if that's as an affiliate, then you need to actually sign up as an affiliate. And what's going to happen, of course, is that you'll actually get access to this, but you need to go through the process of being approved. But what I am going to say is no matter what, open the app and literally do yourself a favor trust that Vicky is worth listening to. If they're on the Positive Prime feed, they're worth listening to. Oh, there's our beautiful Patty. Do you know how much I have learned from Patty? Do you know she is such an incredibly robust thinker? And I could use lots of other words. And if you've been in this community, you've heard me say lots of other wonderful things about Patty. But the mosaic effect has literally shaped some of my best decisions. And it wouldn't have if not for Patty. Right? So watch a couple of sessions a day. The intro, by the way, disappears if you click skip intro 3 times, right? So if you skip intro 3 times, you won't see it again. Now know this, they're more than pretty pictures. They're more than beautiful words. And every single time you press play, I'm going to tell you something really incredible. It reshuffles, it randomizes. And there's a very important reason why. It must in order for it to work. I'll say that again. It must in order for it to work for you. The brain needs novelty. It's a neuroscience fact. You cannot see the messages and the images in the same order and have them literally translate to the same powerful impact the second or third time around, unless you see them in a different order. And in order for a Positive Prime session to show you thousands of images randomized, there's some very clever, very sophisticated software engineering that goes on in the background. And so I know that when I want my nervous system regulated and I want to boost, I go to a chiropractor, and it costs anywhere between $75 and $125. And that's once. And the effect wears off. And then I need to go and see my chiropractor again. And so the reality is, with Positive Prime, it's an energy realignment 3 times a day, 365 days a year, if that's what I choose, if that's what I want to use Positive Prime for. It's outrageous in terms of its value. Every single Positive Prime session is like a hypnotherapy session, a clinical hypnotherapy session. I don't need to see a clinical hypnotherapist for every single issue in my life. I can watch a Positive Prime session, and repetition and randomizing, reshuffling does the most extraordinary thing to your brain, and the way your brain then generates your consciousness, your subconsciousness, and your superconsciousness. And it is truly potent. Truly potent. And on a final note, you could go use an AI friend or Google, and you could dive into the science around why anger and feeling resentful and judgmental accelerates mild cognitive impairment, dementia, in particular Alzheimer's. And whilst we can't make any claims, what we can say is if Positive Prime literally softens you and you yield and there's less anger in your beingness, it's a very special treatment. It's a very special treatment indeed, and one I'm incredibly proud of, and one I know is doing more for you than if you came to see me. And I am a qualified therapist, right? So I know a positive prime session does more for you than you coming to see me as a therapist in person physically. So congratulations again. I'm so incredibly delighted. I want you to think about the 3 tips I gave you at the very, very beginning. It's all about feeling really grateful for the last travel experience you had. It's about thinking about the next travel experience that you want and actually having them linked. And it's about being genuinely and sincerely happy for others who are traveling. That's how you accelerate what some people would call manifestation. We might call just achieving your goals or living the life that you truly love living and being very happy that you get to do so. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I know that you don't really want to be flourishing or thriving if you're facing something difficult. You actually really just want peace. And so at the end of the day, love is pure, eternal, and that's all that matters. And you will find it by viewing positive prime sessions. Love you. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Thank you. And see you later. And just remember, as an affiliate, every single person who signs up between now and the end of the month goes into the draw, and so do you. As many times as you have referrals, as you have really gorgeous people who you've referred, who are linked or tied to you, you go into the draw too. So I am excited for who is going to be winning out of the people who are here today. Love you. All right, ciao.